What's up, guys? Ben here, bringing you another video today. It is Thursday morning. We have the Major 3 qualifiers starting up. It's been a couple of weeks. We're heading into an interesting run here, Major 3 and Major 4 qualifiers. The events are all back-to-back, so we have basically like 3 weeks straight every weekend of Call of Duty, which is a good thing. Also a bad thing because we get no breaks, but whatever, we deal with it. Let's take a look. We got some map pool changes. We got some team pool changes, or team changes this week, and it's going to make for some interesting, I think, results. So let's take a look, and I'll give you my predictions for each one as I try to go perfect in the opening weekend of Major 3 qualifiers. All right, let's start off the Minnesota Rocker versus Atlanta FAZE, and this is the Minnesota team with 2 changes. Reese Vivian out, Big Wake out, and in comes Eli, aka Standy, and Big P, aka Gunless. And obviously ATL FAZE are your reigning Major 2 champions, so they're coming in a little bit of a hot run. I think map pool wise for both teams, some interesting adjustments with 6-star and Vista coming in. I still feel like FAZE is one of those teams that when new maps come in, they're usually pretty good at it off the rip. Obviously, first match, first week of qualifiers after a long break could be some weird stuff. So normally I would say a 3-0, but I'm going to give Minnesota one of these maps. But I think FAZE will get this one fairly clean for a first series. But sometimes they make these ones interesting. We shall see. But obviously, if you get a over 3.5 opportunity here on a bet, I would probably feel pretty good about taking it for this one, to be honest. Now, this is a real interesting one. Vegas versus LAG. So Vegas look great online and then get top 8 at the major in a disappointing loss to Carolina, and LAG actually got top 6 after going 1-6 in the qualifiers. So all that is very interesting. Now for Vegas, their best hardpoint map was removed. Their one of their better S&Ds, they didn't really play a lot in terminal search, was removed as well. And they were also pretty decent at Skid Row hardpoint as well. So I'm very curious to see how Vegas adjusts to the map pool change. As far as LAG, well, they were pretty trash at Invasion hardpoint. They were at Skid Row. They were okay. It was one of their like mid-pack hardpoint maps. And then on, look it up, on Terminal S&D, they were 2-1. So the map pool stuff interesting for both these teams. They haven't played each other in a while. They played each other at LAN. I think LAG won that game 5 with the old Vegas team. And Vegas beat them in the online qualifiers. I'm going to do the same. I'm actually going to do Vegas last map in this one, more out of wishful thinking because I want this to be a banger. But I think Vegas can take this 3-2, 3-1. You see, it's 86-15 or 13, which is understandable because as good as LAG are on LAN, they've been pretty mid online. So I kind of get that, but I'll pick game 5, even though I really think it's probably like a 3-1, to be honest. All right, Toronto Ultra versus LAG. And I think Toronto is going to come in pretty hot into this online qualifier situation. They have really been targeted heavily by some of their better maps getting removed in Invasion, which they have hardpoint, which they've not lost all this year. So they'll hold that undefeated record until the end of time, I guess. And then Skid Row, they were very good at, but Subbase is still around for them. Crotch is still around, so there's still opportunities there. And they were not that good at terminal search, so that's a W for them. So I think this is a 3-0, to be honest. LAG a little demoralized after Friday, and then Toronto get it done, but I really hope that Toronto don't mess this up for us because I assume they are a very heavy favorite. One of the most heavy I've ever seen. 97.9 to 2.1's got to be up there. I don't think I've ever seen a higher one than that. That one's crazy. All right, Miami versus Boston. Man, this is a pick 'em if I've ever seen one. People have it 60-40 Boston versus Miami. And I guess I kind of understand maybe that people think there's a little bit more about that Boston team in these matchups, but I think both these teams are just as inconsistent. So I really don't know kind of how to really feel. I don't know what either team's good maps are with their team changes. Obviously, Real coming in first match for Miami. Boston, you got Pentagram and Beans. I'm going to say a Boston 3-2, but like Miami keeps playing these series. They either like go the distance or it's a 3-0. So I don't know, but 3-2 Boston. I'll kind of go with the flow in this one, but this is extremely coin tossy. This one very much depends on how each team pulls up on the day, and I just don't know. Then we got Minnesota versus New York. Tough draw for Minnesota playing FAZE in New York back to back. Out of curiosity for those on the New York front about, map pool records with this new stuff. They were a very good terminal search team. So that coming out does kind of hurt them a little bit. They were a good Invasion hardpoint team. That coming out hurts them, as well as Skid Row, which was probably their best hardpoint map when I talked to teams about their map pools. So New York has got some work to do to be pretty solid at 6-star and Vista because their better maps have come out here. And I expect them to carry this one fairly clean 3-1. I'll give Minnesota again a map just because new team cheese, but I think New York take this one pretty clean. It's a tough draw for Minnesota. It's just you're playing 2 good teams off the rip, and I don't really expect upsets out of the Rocker boys These ones. All right, and then we get to Sunday, and I honestly think that the last two matches are really good, but the first one is, I don't really know what to think of this one. Carolina versus Seattle. So Carolina got top 6 at the last event. We all know their online form has been very iffy. Map pool-wise, they were at Skid Row. They were 0-8 on Invasion Hardpoint, so that gets out of here. And then Terminal Search, they were bad at. So if you think in the Carolina camp, you probably got a good draw with this map pool. On the Seattle side, Terminal Search was their best S&D, so that's a huge loss for them on that front. They were terrible at Skid Row Hardpoint and terrible at Invasion Hardpoint, so those also come out. So a bit of a mixed bag for Seattle. Maybe with their new team, you might see a lot of 6-star and Vista in the series for both squads. Right now, I'm going to take Carolina 3-2, but I think it's like a game 5er, and both teams have looked decent in S&D these days. The fans have 85-15, and I really don't think it's that lopsided. I think this is a much closer series than people may realize, especially during the first week of qualifiers. And I got Carolina just barely squeaking by in this one. And next up, we have Thieves versus Vegas. And so for Thieves, Invasion Hardpoint, decent-ish map for them, 4-4. And they had not won a Skid Row all year. They were 3-2 in Terminal S&D. So a mixed bag for Thieves if we think about the map pool changes. I am a little concerned that with this Thieves change, they might get more consistent in respawn, which will help them against Vegas. They want to win this in 4. But if we go 5, we go to S&D, with Joe out, Afro in, the rest of his team not that good in search. I think Vegas probably get this one done in a game 5, but if it ends with 4-5, I think that means Thieves won either 2 or 3 respawns in this one. That's kind of really my prediction. And yeah, I think it is a 50-50, and I think the fans have it kind of on the note for that one. Big split for Thieves. They got to get it going, bro. They got to get it going. All right, going to the last match, we got the banger that everybody wants to see, the winners final grand final rematch from your last event in Major 2, FAZE versus OPTIC. The fans, let's take a look, have this pretty even, so okay. FAZE obviously had OPTIC's number pretty much all season in these matchups. One of them did go to game 5, but for the most part, it's been a really tough for OPTIC in their respawns in this series. And the 2 searches they did win were Terminal game 5. And that map's also obviously not in the pool anymore. So we talk about OPTIC's map pool situation with high-rise search staying in, the vulnerabilities sometimes on Invasion. FaZe is going to get rid of Karachi in this one, and I could see us getting a real S&D square up, which FaZe did look pretty good on when they played in that last map of the grand final. On the respawn for OPTIC, Invasion Hardpoint was a map they were pretty good at, and Skid Row as well. So for OPTIC, they got to get good at 6-star in Vista. Thinking about their map pool, because teams are just not going to play them on sub-base, which I don't expect FaZe to play on. So map pool, I think, probably benefits FaZe, but I'm going to take FaZe 3-1. I really think for our OPTIC, this is a huge match because they let FaZe just win this one fairly clean, 3-0, 3-1. We're going to keep talking about how this OPTIC team has just a tough time executing their tactics against this FaZe team. But if OPTIC can get one on the board going into Major 3 off the rip, I think that's some good confidence. So we'll see how this plays out. So yeah, I mean, this is my prediction. Say 2-match Fridays is kind of a bummer. I don't really like those type of days, even though I can get dinner before the flank. A little bit snoozy matchups, I think, for the most part on Friday. Praying and hoping that Vegas LAG is a good one, because that one could be also beaten. But the rest of the set's actually not that bad. I think there's some interesting ones. And again, we got some new maps coming in, some new teams as well, as far as, you know, changes for Thieves, changes for Seattle with 04 coming in. I forgot to mention that. You know, Miami, Boston, Minnesota. So excited to see some of these new squads play on some new maps and see if they can grab some momentum, because some of these teams are starting to really fall away from the champs qualification. This is a big split heading into Toronto to see if they can grab some online points. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought of the video. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more. As always, guys, we'll see you on the next one.